watch the show The Art of Mindful Medicine. This is part 2 of our show from last week with our very special guest, Teresita Tamaharini. Teresita is a yoga teacher, a Reiki master, an aquatic personal trainer, biochemist, and immunologist, for those of us that didn't see last time. And this time we're just going to jump right into it. We spoke a little bit last time about her journey and what she's gone through with science and moving to different countries and things like that. But now we're going to talk really in depth about yoga and Reiki. So, Teresita, what is yoga?
Yoga. And that's the question that we finished last week.
Mm-hmm.
So at that point I told you I'm yoga. And I'll go a little deeper for you and for other people, and you may agree and you may not agree, because I do know that people tell you that yoga is union. Okay, so I want you to think about this. Us as human beings, we are components. We are female, we are male.
Mm-hmm.
We are cold, we are hot. We are dark, we are light. We are all the opposite in one.
Mm-hmm.
So when we finally comprehend that we are all one and nothing at the same time, we are yoga.
Mm-hmm.
We are not emotions. We experience emotions.
Mm-hmm.
So in Spanish, we say, estoy feliz, which means I am happy.
Mm-hmm.
But it doesn't mean I am happy as a subject.
Mm-hmm.
But I am experiencing the emotion of being happy.
Okay.
So we have to understand that emotions are options.
Mm-hmm.
It's not who I am. So when we like to say, oh, I'm this, I'm that, no, I am experiencing that. And through yoga, we learn that.
Mm-hmm.
So again, my left side is my female, my right side is my masculine part, my creative, my productive, how I manifest, the cold part of me, the hard part of me, the above, the underneath, the in, the out. I'm everything. And in the middle of us, our center, is where everything becomes one. And yoga teaches us that.
Mm-hmm.
So I understand why we define yoga as union,
Mm-hmm.
because it's a union of all this in one.
Mm-hmm.
So what does yoga teach us? Come back to our center.
Exactly.
How we do it, many ways.
Mm-hmm.
There's no one way to do this.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, it's a whole bunch of ways, and some days you're going to use asanas, which are the postures.
Mm-hmm.
Other days you're going to use philosophy of yoga. There are different paths in yoga. Those of us who are yogis or have studied something, there's the yoga of study, the yoga of devotion to God, the yoga of just chanting. There's all kinds of paths. The yoga of karma yoga, which is the yoga of action.
Mm-hmm.
So when I learned to use all these things, and through these different techniques, tools in my belt, I become that union, that yoke, that pulling
Mm-hmm.
back towards the center. So personally speaking, that's yoga for me. That's why I say I am yoga, because I am learning to put together all these tools and how to
Mhm.
use them.
Exactly, and I completely agree. I think that was a very beautiful way of describing it. One of the things you said that really connects with me, because when I was taking my teacher training, karma yoga really stuck out as a branch of yoga
Yes.
that really connected with me. But I can see how it's very confusing for people, because karma yoga, like the definition or the translation of it, like you said, is the action of yoga. And people think of that as like, well, okay, aren't you practicing yoga, doing the asanas or poses?
Yeah.
Isn't that action? But that's not really
No, we're
the
not
kind
talking.
of action.
We're not talking about physical action of
Yeah,
postures.
yeah.
We're talking about our actions as human beings.
Exactly.
And actually, that is something I think is really important right now through everything we're going.
Exactly.
Because how I move through my actions will create reactions, and that will determine how I am going to go through life.
Mhm.
So as yogis, what we try to do is try to select the actions that are more towards the light,
Mm-hmm.
more towards doing good.
Mm-hmm.
I do understand that sometimes we're going to be in positions where it's not the best that we can do, or maybe not the best selection of things that I can go for, but at that moment, it is the best for the moment.
Exactly.
So that is my yoga of action.
Mhm.
What can I do to make this better?
Yeah.
How can I do something to help? Maybe not the best way, but what's the best thing that I have right now in my toolbox that I can use?
Exactly.
Try to go towards the light. Do good, not go the opposite way.
Mm-hmm. It's the intentions behind the actions that are what really I find to be extremely important.
Yes.
And it's whether you're practicing asana yoga or washing the dishes. I mean, it doesn't make a difference.
There's a saying, and I'm pretty sure it's a Buddhist saying that says, before enlightenment, you have to clean the floor and wash the dishes and clean the toilet. After you be enlightened, quote unquote, you still have to clean the floor, clean the dishes, and clean your toilet.
Exactly.
So the enlightenment, do I ever think that I'm going to consider be 100% enlightenment? I don't know. But what I do realize is that I'm awakening.
Mm-hmm.
And things that before I didn't see or didn't consider,
Mm-hmm.
or I just didn't stop to think about.
Exactly.
So yeah, I am becoming enlightened that way. So now I can use my karma yoga
Mm-hmm.
to make better decisions.
Exactly.
And do things, for a bigger good. That's not me.
Exactly, because I truly believe that it, like you said, especially right now, there's some people that can't do yoga physically, or
No,
they're not
fine.
comfortable or whatever. But there are different ways to do
Definitely
yoga.
different ways to practice yoga.
And
It's
karma
not-
yoga is so important right now, to really harness that energy within, and whatever is like you said, whatever is going on around you, just put your best foot forward and do your best in whatever the given situation
Yes.
is. So, perfect. I think that was a fantastic description of yoga. Thank you. So now I want you to go into a little bit more. So asana practice, I know we were talking about poses and not poses. So what's some of the main differences between asana practice with yoga and versus other types of yoga that are not asana practice?
Well, for those who do not understand what asana means, asana does not mean posture.
Mm-hmm.
And it actually, trying to explain it short and sweet, will be how can I stay in a position in the most comfortable way for me?
Mm-hmm.
In that position, that doesn't mean that I'm seated. I can be standing, I can be seated, I can be laying down, belly up, belly down. But how can I find that sweet spot where I can stay and breathe?
Mm-hmm.
And that's actually what an asana is.
Yeah.
So, then that's our physical part of yoga. And through those things, we learn about ourselves, we learn about our body, we learn about our mental state, because the mind is going to go crazy when we find that uncomfortable spot.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a really great tool to get to know ourselves and get to know our body and how to heal parts of our body through postures. But that's not all yoga. You have philosophy of yoga, and that, my God, once you open that door, it's never ending.
Mm-hmm.
That really is a deep thing, and that's why I always very thankful for my first teacher who taught me the 8 limbs of yoga. That it's not that you follow the 8 limbs one after the other. It's not that first I do this to do this and this. No, they're all interactive.
Mm-hmm.
But it's another tool that we use, and you don't have to study, 1,000 hours to learn them.
Mm-hmm.
There's books that you can buy to learn just the 8 limbs of yoga and how to apply to our lives.
Mm-hmm.
And it's one way of doing it. And then, like we were talking, there's other paths of yoga. People who do yoga just for devotion to God.
Mm-hmm.
I bow to you if you like that path, because I do believe in my creator and my divine, but I don't think I am capable of staying 100% of my day devoted to that.
Mm-hmm.
In a confined praying or whatever it is. My devotion to God, I do it in a different way.
Mm-hmm.
I do it through my actions, through my teaching,
Mm-hmm.
through what I eat, being mindful of what I'm eating, being mindful of what I buy, I don't buy. So there's so many ways to apply yoga.
Absolutely.
Because again, it's a discipline.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lifestyle.
Yeah, that's why they call it a practice.
Yes.
Just like in medicine,
Yes.
it's a medical practice, because we're always learning, we're always practicing.
Oh my God,
so.
yes. It's a non-stop learning
Yeah.
process, yes. And
Absolutely. Beautiful. So, for those of us that may not have seen the first episode just yet, what brought you to the path of yoga and Reiki?
Geez. Okay, so I told you that I saw somebody doing sun salutations
Mm-hmm.
and I did not know what this person was doing, so I followed him to class. That is how physically I got into yoga. And then once just to make it short and sweet, once I was in it, my teacher and I clicked, and she took me as a pupil.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, I was very blessed because she taught me philosophy. And then postures came with years of a lot of practice
Mm-hmm.
and studying. Reiki, it ran in the family. I knew my grandfather was a master. I knew my dad was a master, but my initiation was because a classmate from high school said, you know what, you're ready.
Yeah.
I'll initiate you.
Exactly.
But I was always very drawn to anything that has to do with energy. I'm very susceptible to feeling stuff without knowing what sometimes it is, but I'm open to explore, and that was always just me.
Great.
So that's how I said, okay, let's try it.
Great. So your family, I mean, there's a history of Reiki there.
Yes.
But
yes.
for you, yoga came first, and that was kind of I guess your doorway to.
It was like there, one next to the other. I can't say which one started first because they were just intertwined.
Which makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean,
it was just intertwined.
Perfect. So how was that path from studying science and immunology and biochemistry and then leading you to these types of things? How did you connect the two in your brain, like and in your being when you got introduced to something that is so in some ways drastically different?
If you want to put it this way, one is very well. The thing is, if you look from the immunologist point of view, it does make a lot of sense for me because you can't see immunology.
Exactly. Yeah.
You see the effects of applying immunology, but you don't see the immune system. You see the effects when your immune system works or doesn't work, but you don't touch your immune system.
Exactly.
So for me, that was a no-brainer. So to take it to Reiki was, well, it's just energy. To take it to the inside of the yoga part is just movement of energy. And we are energy. Everything we do, the way we move, what we eat, I mean, you know, the way we eat, the way we prepare our food, the way we do, even if you do just, let's say somebody who does only Western medicine, and you know, the way you apply that medicine to yourself, the way you take your pills, are you disciplined enough to do your medicine when it's supposed to be? If the doctor tells you 6 in the morning, 12, and then 6, do you do that? And there's a reason why they tell you to do that, because there's a lifespan of the medicine. There's the way that when you take the medicine, it will be break down and digest and metabolize this way, and the lifespan will go down and up and down, and then you're ready. So even if you only do that as Western medicine without anything to yoga or Reiki, there's a pattern to follow there. So are you disciplined enough to do that?
Yeah.
Well, I'm a very disciplined, structured person. I'm, like I said, type I personality. So to go into a path of yoga where you need to be disciplined for yoga to work, that was a no-brainer for me. It was just like, oh, okay, let's do this.
Yeah.
I mean, the same thing when you swim, we were talking last week, I've always been a swimmer, I love water. You learn to follow the energy of the water. You're not going to fight the water.
Exactly.
The water's always going to win.
Yeah, you don't swim against the current.
No, you don't. I mean, you're not going to. That's a dumb moment for me. You don't do that. You learn to go with the water, and then you use the water to your advantage.
Absolutely.
You learn to move the body. And everybody, even though there's techniques how to swim, we all are going to apply the technique according to our body.
Exactly.
I
We're
have
not
a
all going to swim the same way.
I have an scoliosis towards the right side of my body, so the way the right side of my body moves is going to be very different from the left. How am I going to find harmony so my spine can rotate to be able to swim through the current?
And again, that's like yoga, that harmony, that balance between the two, that's
Yes.
exactly what that is.
When we do balancing poses of yoga, my right side balance very different from my left side. So the
Me
position
too.
of my right foot is going to be different from the position of my left.
100%.
So we learned that,
Yeah.
and that was just a no-brainer for me because these are things that you don't see. These are things that we feel
And
when we start learning about
It's
ourselves.
so funny having a conversation about it with somebody else that studied science and is so deep and knowledgeable about yoga, because I just can think back to school, remembering, I mean, you study energy.
Yes.
But they it's just the way they approach it is so different, because like it's energy in, energy out. There's exothermic reactions, there's endothermic reactions.
Exactly.
I mean, it's very simplified. It's just how you look at it, and we don't understand because, like you said, you don't see the energy.
No.
You don't see the immune system, but what you put into it can be felt.
Completely.
So, and it's, I remember I saw a doctor talking, or they wrote something that like the immune system isn't separate from our being. Like we are the immune system.
We are our immune system. I mean, all our white cells, which is our first line of defense, for those who know a little bit about that part, is we create that. And if my bone structure, my core me is not strong enough to create those cells, okay, what's going on energetically speaking that I cannot concentrate that energy and create this line of defense that I need so much? Because take away yoga, for those who don't believe in yoga and Reiki for a while, what's going on in your life with your emotions, let me put it that way, that you're not being able to create this in healthy immune system that you need? I mean, I have known people that had nothing to do with yoga, nothing to do with Reiki, but were going through very hard emotion things in their life, and they developed these diseases, they developed this illness because there was something very heavy in them that was bringing them down.
The body responds to, and believe it or not, the energy it's all based off of frequency and vibration. So that frequency and vibration that you hold within yourself is going to manifest in some way or another.
In some way or another. It needs to find an escape somehow.
You can't just contain it forever.
No, you can contain it for a while, but it's going to burst out. And when we don't allow it to burst out because we're not paying attention, it's like when somebody calls you in the first ring, I'm not going to answer it. Second ring, fourth ring, and then your phone goes boom. Okay, that's your body calling you. Okay, first ring, it hurts a little bit, but you know what? I can still bear with the pain. I'll just bear with it. No. Second call of your body. Oh, it hurts a little more now. I can't even get out of bed. Third call, I can't even get up.
Yeah.
So we are guilty of not picking up the phone the first time.
Yeah, absolutely. So, very, very true. So basically, I think it's really, again, it's not so important that people practice the physical aspects of yoga. I think just understanding what yoga is. Like, I mean, it's not, and people look at it as, oh, that's a religious thing. It has nothing to do with it. I mean, there are people that do practice it as a religion, but that's the way they practice it. I mean, you can have your own approach. Yeah, the beauty about yoga is you take what you can benefit most from it and utilize that every single day. And that's where a lot of, I believe, the health benefits of it will come into play.
Oh my God. I'll put it this way. I'm going to be 53 this year. I can say that compared to a lot of people that I know my age, I find myself healthier, more fit, and I'm not talking about the physical part. I'm talking about mental wise. I'm talking about emotions. I find myself more stable. I don't freak out. I don't go into paranoia. I try to find that middle ground where we can all work, and that's the point. I mean, again, let's put the situation that we're living in, a lot of situations right now, and none of them are really good. So if you go to both extremes, or I'm going to isolate myself completely, and I'm not even talking about the pandemic, there's so many things going on right now, or I isolate myself and I hide, or I go all the way out. Well, none of these are going to work.
I would just had this discussion last night, but it's just finding.
We need to find that middle ground where we can say, okay, how is it that we cannot sit as human beings with supposedly some brain working in here and try to find a middle ground? That the middle ground is not going to be the same every day. It's going to be, what can I do to make it work today? What are the things that I can consider modify for tomorrow? Or what is the long run path or plan that I can come with? The problem is people don't want to sit down and do that because nobody is willing to give in. Well, how are you going to go back to your middle if you're just pulling both extremes? Think about an elastic band and just pull. At some point it's going to snap. This end or this end is going to snap. And the part that snaps is going to hit the other one in the face. And that's because we're all just being kids who just don't want to give up their toy.
Yeah.
Well, give up your toy. Share it. At some point, if you understand, again, that we are all one, there has to be a share. And there's always going to be this flow of energy. Give, go, give, go, give, go, give. It's always going to be this way. So how can I make this work? Are you willing to put in the effort that it takes? That's the question.
Yeah, and trusting, because you have to be willing to give, wholeheartedly give, because you know you're going to get back. Probably even tenfold, but that it depends where it comes from.
And if it comes, it comes. Like I always say, if it comes, yay, and if it doesn't come, yay also.
Yeah, and we might not notice in that way in which it comes.
Yeah.
Because it's not going to necessarily be the same form.
Oh no. The coming part is going to be in so many different ways. I have experienced that myself, and there's I always say this year's is about, because everything going on, I can't go out to work. Okay, so this year is going to be about giving. What can I give to other people? So I'm giving free yoga classes online for some people who don't speak English. So people who never done yoga, so I'm breaking it down for them.
Which is
okay,
beautiful.
that's my way of giving this year, because that's what is needed to calm people's mind. That's what is needed to calm their heart and give them some peace, at least for an hour a day. So, and eventually I know that's going to come back to me in a good way.
Yeah.
So that's karma yoga right there.
Absolutely. And like what you said before, I mean, when it comes to your health, like you notice that it's not just physical health, it's health here.
It's here.
Because
it's here and here and here in the gut. Your first brain is your gut.
Yeah.
And when we don't digest situations, when we don't digest people properly, what's the first thing that we get sick of? The digestive system.
Yeah.
And where's your immune system? In your digestive system also. So if we don't take care of how our emotions are going, if we don't take care of the quality of our food, if we don't take care of how we prepare our food, well, what do you expect?
Yeah.
Simple as that.
And I think it's really important for people to understand that our physical health is so heavily dependent on our mental and emotional health that, I mean, and they've done tons of studies on this, even because I've been an athlete my whole life, working out, exercising, playing soccer. I mean, your mind is going to be willing to give up before your body.
Yes.
All the time. So
Yes.
like if you can train your mind to be extremely strong and determined and centered, even in the hardest of situations,
Even
it's
if
so
you
important.
just start 5 minutes a day, and then the next day add another 5, and the next day we add another 5, and then maybe take a day off, and then just slowly.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking about again, it's just mental also. Okay, today I'll read 3 pages. I'll educate myself in 3 pages of this. Maybe tomorrow I can do another 3. Before I notice, I finish the chapter.
Yeah.
Before I notice, I finish the book.
100%.
So that's why when you asked me last week, what's something that we can help us in our health? Educate yourself. There's so many good things now free online, so many good books that you guys can reach out to according to what your preference is, right? Go for it. Go educate yourself, and if there's doubts, then there's ways that we can talk about things, and because all of us, we're going to talk from our experience.
Exactly. 100%.
Yeah.
We could talk about this for days. So
Yes.
let's move on. We're going to stay with yoga, but a little different part of yoga. It actually really is on the same topic now that I think about it. Yoga has become very popular in the U.S.,
Yes.
of course. So how do you see the practice of today in this country?
There's 2 big things that I have seen through my own practice, and this is how I'm gonna. And I know a lot of people who does selling that are not gonna like me right now. Not sorry. So this is it. They sell it. Yoga. You want to lose weight? Do yoga. You want to have this much of a waist? You do yoga. You want to look cute in this outfit? Do yoga. Okay, I don't agree with that selling of yoga. I'm sorry. That's not why I do yoga. First of all, my body has a complexure that's how I am, and that's how I was born. So if I'm going only for the external part of how I am going to look, that is not yoga. Now, when we understand a little more about what yoga is, and understand that yoga comes from an internal part, that is a beautiful part that I think is not explained enough because it doesn't sell. So people who are trying to sell yoga for the buck, I get it, because you are trying to make a living out of it, and I did it also. I made a living out of yoga, and I'm very blessed. But I always try not to do it because of how you're going to look externally. I want the transformation. I wish the transformation for you to start from the inside, because when the inside works, the outside accommodates itself.
It just happens.
It just happens on its own.
It's easy.
Yes, because again, I'll use myself an example. I have an scoliosis. Okay, so for me to look a certain way, I have to understand internally how I have to align my body, my bones, my muscles, my tendons, my ligaments, my energy to flow, so I can have a proper posture. And if I have the right posture, I'm going to look fabulous, and no matter what I'm wearing. I can be this skinny with a bad posture, with bad skin because I'm not eating properly, because I'm not sleeping properly, but I'm practicing all my postures,
Mm-hmm.
well, which one is healthier?
Exactly.
So unfortunately, I have seen both things going on right now in the Western world, and I really hope, my hope is, and I know it's a lot of teachers, we think alike, that we will love to bring more the internal part of that work of yoga to people to understand it, and then realize the external part will come.
Mm-hmm.
Because that is a side effect that is going to come no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you start moving, when you start in understanding yourself, when you start calming yourself, you're working not only on your immune system, you're working on your hormonal system.
Mm-hmm.
So all the good hormones that keep us, to feel happy, to keep us energized, they're gonna come.
Mm-hmm.
And when that happens, it's amazing how the external part of the body just aligns itself.
Mm-hmm.
But that means that we have to put the work in.
Exactly.
I mean, just look at the people who does martial arts.
Mm-hmm.
How many years
Oh,
of
man.
training
Yeah.
have these people? Because they committed to a discipline.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yoga's no different.
Exactly. It's the same in that
It's
respect.
it's a lot of discipline.
And there's actually a lot of overlapping between.
Well, martial arts came from yoga.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of discipline, it's a lot of rules, and I know they're really hard to follow, I get it. And we don't follow them to the best. I don't follow them to the best every day. I try. But again, I just try to be mindful.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of internal work eventually allow my body to move certain ways. So even if you've never done yoga in your life, and you tell me I can't do postures, I can assure you, you can.
Mm-hmm.
You can lay down.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of postures you can do laying down.
Absolutely, and it just creates that body awareness. So like that way you were describing what you have to do to get in that proper posture, all the things you have to be aware of.
Yep.
A lot of people, unfortunately, these days don't even have the body and self-awareness to say, oh, my hip this, my back this, my shoulder here, like one leg off this way or that way. I mean, people just, I'm in pain.
Yeah,
and
I'm in pain.
it just,
Again, and I understand that not everybody had the fortune of somebody pointing it out to them.
course.
Because somebody pointed it out for me and helped
Mhm.
me, of course. That's why I studied. That's why I did a bunch of stuff that I did in my life. But there are people out there who can help you.
Yeah,
if you
100%.
reach out.
Yeah,
And
you don't have to.
don't judge yourself.
Yeah.
That's I think is one of the big holdbacks from a lot of people, because they're like, oh, I cannot do that, so I'm not doing it. Or I don't want to be next to that person because they look like a pretzel and I don't look that way. Well, I don't look like a pretzel either. I
Mhm.
cannot do not even half of the things one of my teachers does. But I'm okay. The dude is 20 years younger than me, and he has martial arts experience, which I have none.
Mm-hmm.
But that's okay. That's his journey, not mine.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, is find what works for me and keep me healthy
Exactly.
in all possible ways.
Yeah.
And we all are going to have a different journey. That's the beauty. That's why there's so
100%.
many tools that we can use,
Yeah.
and mix and match your tools every day.
Mhm.
That's the fun of it.
Yeah, and it's just about becoming the best you.
Yep.
I mean, it's your journey, and you're gonna make of it or not make of it whatever you want. But becoming the best you, and these are just some of the tools to do so. You don't necessarily have to have 1,000 hours or over 1,000
No.
hours of yoga study to get the benefits of yoga.
No, just go find yourself a teacher that is good, of course, that you feel comfortable with.
Mhm.
Because the other thing, you have to be very comfortable with your teacher. We all talk and teach differently, so you have to find somebody who resonates with you.
Mhm.
But just show up. I showed up my first day. My teacher only spoke Sanskrit, and I was like, "What? I have no idea what you want me to do. I'll follow whatever you look like,
Mhm.
but I have no idea," until I eventually, through again years of practice, broke down a lot of things.
Mhm.
And that's what I try to do when I teach. I break it down as much as I see that you need, so you can understand what you need to do.
Mhm. It's not about the instant gratification. It's about
No.
all of the benefits that unfold once you
It
start
unfolds,
and create
and the
that
beauty
discipline.
is once you really commit to it, it just keeps unfolding.
Yeah.
It's a non-stop of benefits and blessings and a whole bunch of
Mhm.
stuff. Yes.
100%. 100%. So, I mean, this might be a tough one to answer, but what is your favorite aspect of yoga?
If I have to put it just in one thing, is that finding back the soul. Because like anybody else, I got lost.
Mm-hmm.
So many things going on in life, and we detach from it. because we are brought up with so many things that, you know, short and sweet. When you're a child, they tell you to do this, and this way, and this is how things are going to be done, and you have to do this because this is what they expect from you, and they want you to go into a career eventually. So, you know, we start detaching ourselves from our inside because we start listening too much to the outside, which is not bad. Those are our guides. We need the guides. But at the same time, we need to start learning to listen here. And yoga taught me that. How to listen to myself, how to listen to my soul, and just be in peace with myself.
I was just going to say, just that alone creates peace within yourself.
I was just like, wow, you know, I can see the whole world falling down, and I'm like, okay, whatever. It's out of my hands.
Kind of very relevant to the current time. So,
yeah.
That's great. And what kind of yoga do you teach most of the time?
Modalities. So that's why I say yoga's just one. Modalities. I do teach vinyasa. I have taught yin, restorative, deep stretching. Those are the ones that I have taught more. I love the therapeutic approach. All yoga therapeutic, but there's something that they do call therapy yoga. And I am not a yoga therapist. I will make that very clear. But I do like the approach they give. And to be able to do that, what I did is I bought a lot of books from therapists, physical therapists, and I studied them to understand a little more of anatomy and to understand more biomechanics of the body, to understand that if you tell me, hey, my hip is structured this way, okay, how can I make this work for you? Because now I have more knowledge of how the hip works, so I can help you work that.
Yeah, because if someone's having hip tightness, I mean, it's not the same for everybody.
No, and actually it can be the back pain that's affecting your hip. It can be the hip affecting your back. It can be your hamstrings. It can be your gluteus. It can be your lumbar. It can be your it can be so many things. So I love anatomy so much. I love the biomechanics. Like I said, I love the energy flow. So I love to study that, and that's where I really appreciate learning about yoga and how things move. Because through movement, I have learned to heal my body. I have learned to find an ease point. So even if I'm in a comfortable pose, I learn to be as comfortable as possible at that day, at that moment, in that pose.
Exactly. Because like everybody else is different. We are different from day to day.
Day to day, yeah. In the morning, my body is not the same what it is at
exactly.
night.
Yeah.
Period.
That's for
all of us,
100%
especially
sure.
as we age. So it's completely, and it's, you know, hormonal wise speaking, as a female, it changes a lot also. So it's learning to play with that, and that's the beauty of it, and I love that.
Yeah, absolutely.
For me, that's fun.
And so you were talking about yoga therapy, which brings me to the next point. So you would consider asana practice a good kind of therapy for physical ailments?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
It is, because through movement you unblock things or you close things. Sometimes we're too open. Sometimes we need to pull back. So through the postures, through the movement, through the breath, we learn to open or to close.
And I mean, just the physical part of it, I mean, this is really important for people to understand as well, because there's a lot of research that's gone into yoga about how it's amazing for back pain.
Yes.
But there's also research and studies of the same studies actually saying that the correct alignment is really, really important, because otherwise it can actually cause injuries.
Yes, because your alignment is not mine. My alignment, even on my right side, is not the same as the alignment on the left. Like I said, when I'm balancing on one leg, the way I balance on the right leg is not going to be the same way I'm going to balance on the left leg, because my right hip has a whole different story going on than what compared to my left hip. So understanding that, what is the proper alignment for me is very important. And that actually it does help when I understood how to do it. Absolutely.
And I think that this, what I was reading, the research, it goes on to talk about how being in like bigger classes and going really fast, like some classes are, which is fine. I mean, some of those flow classes go pretty quickly, but it's really, really important to pick good teachers and good studios.
Yes.
Because I partake in these classes. I love hot yoga. I practice in rooms that have 30, 40 people in them. But having a good teacher is so, so important, so your alignment can be right for you at that moment. Because like we were saying, day to day it can change.
It can change, and the thing is, and to be fair to teachers, when you have 40 people in front of you, it's really, you can't go one by one.
Yeah, there's no way.
You kind of have to have the knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
How are you going to verb yourself? How are you going to talk? So it's going to hit people in different ways. And then the other thing that, being fair to teachers, you students, and I'm going to say this because I say this all the time, you have to listen. Because I've been a student also, and sometimes we hear the teacher talking, but we're not paying attention. No, I want to look that way. I'm like, no, that's not happening. You need to do it this way. Maybe you need to bend your knee. Maybe you need to take away from this joint first to create space in this bigger joint, and then extend this little joint. But if you don't make space in the bigger joint, how do you expect to this one open? You're gonna feel a compression. Like, let's say you're gonna feel a compression of your hips if you're not giving in your knee a little bit first. So I understand why you want to look a certain way, but we have to understand, again, let's go a little bit regressive in our postures to go then progressive. Let's find what really works for my body to eventually work it to a bigger goal. And this is when no judging.
Yeah, there's no judgment. I mean, that's not, in my opinion, there's no place for it in yoga anyways.
It shouldn't be. It shouldn't.
So, but like we were saying, and doing all of these things is so important. And again, having a great teacher is really important, because those little tweaks here and there, just even the way, again, it's not, you don't have to physically adjust somebody. You
no,
just certain cues, and if you don't do them, you can hurt yourself. Or if you do them wrong, or if someone tells you the wrong cues, you can hurt yourself. So it's really important to pay attention to these things. And they've done a lot of research on it. So there's several hundreds of journals, but journals like the Complementary Therapies in Clinical Practice frequently publish research on yoga. Recent papers have focused on practicing yoga to reduce essential hypertension and anxiety during pregnancy, its effect on regulating heart rhythm, the connection between yoga and changes in brainwave activity, the improvement of core stability and balance, and relief of postpartum depression. In her review, Dr. Tiffany Field, the director of the Touch Research Institute at the University of Miami, provides a fascinating overview of the effects of yoga on anxiety and depression, pain, cardiovascular, autoimmune, and immune conditions, and on pregnancy. So there's a lot of research going into if people are skeptical of these things, just to back it up, because there's tons and tons of articles and research all over the world, it's not just here, that they're studying these things.
Well, I think one of the, and again, back to the question you asked me before, how do I see the yoga nowadays in the West? The problem is that everybody wants a quick fix.
Instant gratification.
No, that's not going to happen. I'm sorry to tell you that. But the beauty is, once it comes, it stays. It doesn't go. It's not like a pill that I take that after 6 hours or 12 hours, whatever the lifespan of the pill is, once that is over, the pill is gone, the effect is gone. No. Once you understand how yoga works, it doesn't go away. This stays. Even if you, for some reason, stop your practice, like anything else, there's a memory in our body. There's a physical memory, there's a muscular memory, there's the energy memory, that when we start again, it just comes back.
Yeah, you can't unlearn some of the things that you've been...
It will come back. Like, if I take a break for some reason and then I go back, okay, the first couple of days is gonna be, okay, I gotta, I need some oil here or there. But once you start going, it just comes back quick, comes out quicker. It's just getting started. I get it.
100%.
100%. And then be patient.
Yeah.
Just be patient, but it works. I mean, I've been practicing now almost 14 years. Just practice part, and it just keeps getting better. And I know there's a whole bunch of stuff that the body at some point will not do, because this is just for a time frame. But internally speaking, you just keep growing. That's the beauty of it. You just keep going.
Because this is the physical body is just a vehicle for what we are.
This is just for now, to come and do something good on earth, and but what goes really inside, that's what matters, and that keeps growing.
So now I want to talk a little bit about Reiki. So what is Reiki?
Short and sweet. Energy transmission through hands and position. Short and sweet. I don't need to touch you. It's not my energy. We all command ourselves to somebody. Why so many levels of Reiki? Because in different levels you will be attuned to different symbols. And so you will have more tools in your belt to work with. Because every symbol will be related to different chakras, energy centers in the body for different things. So yeah, that's where really when I break it down. But it's really based on my intention, like anything else. What is the intention that I have when I practice Reiki? What do I wish for you? What do I wish for myself? Because I practice Reiki on myself twice a day. When I wake up and when I go to bed. To start my day and to close my day. So when somebody comes and want a Reiki session, okay, so there were people that will like to talk about it before and share with you maybe why they're doing it. So you can work specifically on that. There will be people that for some reason don't want to share anything. So we just hover with our hands and guided by whoever you are in tune with, and you feel the energy of the person, and we all are going to read it differently. Each one of us are going to work our way in a different way. We're going to read things differently, and we're going to do our thing. And we can work with oils, we can work with crystals, we can just do the hovering of the hands. There are some techniques of Reiki where I do, if the person likes it, you can touch the person, but that has to be by consent, of course, because you're going to be laying down or seated with your eyes closed, so you really have to trust me.
Yeah.
So it's really in what's my intention, and the best intention I can tell anybody is for you to heal yourself. I don't heal you. Let's make that clear. I'm not a healer. We are not healers. I don't think nobody should be calling themselves healers, because at the end of the day, me as the patient or client, let's put it that way, I make the decision if I want to heal myself. Like I always tell people, I can go to the grocery store and buy all the food. I can cook it for you. I can set the table. I can do everything, but I'm not going to pick up the fork. You have to pick up the fork. You have to make that last decision of healing yourself. I can give you the tools after a Reiki session, after we feel the energy, we move it around. We can talk if you want and give you options. But that's your decision at the end of the day. And normally what happens in the first session, a lot of people don't like it because things will come up. And I had people ask me, how do you know that if I never told you? Well, you didn't say it verbally, but your body told me. Your energy told me. When I was hovering all the energy centers, what your body was telling me that something's not working here. And and then we have the knowledge to put two together according to where it is and how the energy feels, if it's stuck, unstuck, scattered, cold, hot, there's things that we can read and have a conversation and see where this might be coming from, what can be causing, what's going on in your life, and just start giving you tools to awaken yourself. Because at the end of the day, you have to make the decision that you want.
Yeah. Because the healing comes from within. Come
within. I can give you options how to do it. I can give you exercises. I can do a whole bunch of stuff. But if you don't do them, for whatever reason, I can make you feel good after a session. That is true. After a Reiki session, you feel really good because you feel rested. You feel that like things were in place. Like it's clean and order. But you have to keep it that way. You have to maintain it.
Yeah.
You have to do it, not me.
Exactly. So that order came because the individual allowed it.
Yes.
And because of our interconnectedness, your energy, you said it's not your energy.
It's not whoever,
Yeah, so that interconnectedness allows that person the freedom to reorganize and heal, but day to day, that's the person's responsibility.
Yeah. Like I have diverticulitis. So let's say I go for a Reiki session, or I do it myself, right? So just to take the pain away. Great, I took the pain away. But if I don't want the pain to come back, well, I have to exercise. I have to eat correctly. I have to hydrate myself. I have to, make sure that I'm being exposed to certain things and not exposed to other things. So I have to do my share.
Yeah.
I will do Reiki on myself twice a day, like I said, to start my day, to close my day. But in between, in my everyday life, I have to do all these other things. And it doesn't mean it won't come back, because I do have a physical manifestation of something, but I understood where it's coming from. I was sincere with myself where it was coming from, and I was like, okay, so these are now the guidelines that I have to follow for it not to flare up anymore. So Reiki did not heal me. It gave me the tools how to heal myself and be able to function.
Gotcha.
Now the bodies will break down eventually, because it's just like I always say, from the moment you came to this life, well, okay, you started aging and dying at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
How long would that take? Only God knows.
Mm-hmm.
But I have the tools now how to keep myself healthier.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because we're all going to age. It's just how you age
and how you accept that aging process.
Exactly.
Which is the other big thing.
Yeah. So obviously now we talked a little bit about how you applied or how you do apply Reiki, but how did you learn Reiki?
You take a course.
Okay.
And you go to somebody who is already a master Reiki, and I don't know how the courses are set up now. When I did it many years ago, it was Reiki 1, 2, 3, and Master. So you took a course for each one, and you have to study, and you have to practice like any other course. Everybody has the capacity to do Reiki. Let me put it this way. Now, do you have the discipline to do it? Do you have the discipline to go learn and practice it on yourself? It's like any other thing. The more you practice, the better you get. Some people are more gifted than others. That is true. Some people have a better flow. Yes, that is true. But anybody can go take the course.
So I feel like you said, anybody can do it. But some people are just more adept to that. But I feel like we all have the capacity to. It depends on how open you are. Really, I think to allow that energy to flow through you. So I mean, you're gonna either accept or refute certain parts
not absorb the other energy also.
Yeah.
That's the other thing you have to learn how to. Okay, this is not me. I'm just the straw here.
Yeah.
And no, I had people like I did. I'll never forget. I did a Reiki circle, which is normally where it's a group of people who receive Reiki. And there was one person who did not believe in it. I said, fine, don't worry. If you're here is for a reason, I will assume, I said. But the person said, well, they brought me here.
Okay.
Well,
accepted to come.
would you like me to do it? Because if you don't want it, I don't take offense.
Yeah.
I'm just going to skip you.
Yeah.
Move on to the next person. No, I would like to experience. Fine. So I went to that person and I found what I found. And I said, well, after I done, I said I will have 5, 6 minutes, 8 minutes, whatever, little conversation with each one of you on the side where nobody can hear because it's private. If you guys are interested in listening on what I found it. And this person came to the side and I said, okay, so this is what I found. Ba, 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 ba. And the person looked at me and said, how did you know? You told me. Not verbally. But this is what your body's telling you. This is what your body's saying. And this is something that I say, if you just want to consider, these are, options that I'm going to give you if you would like to try them. And the person did try them. And then they came back and they were like, thank you. Spot on.
That's beautiful.
I'm like, well, this is why we do it. I said, this is something that the whole idea is to bring health, to bring wellness, to bring peace, to bring that union again that we all lose. So it's a beautiful tool to use, well used. Not for fame. This is what we have to understand. When we do Reiki, when we practice yoga, when we do our meditation, it had to be for something bigger than us. Because if you're only doing it for your glory, then I personally will tell you no thank you.
And I agree.
I don't say no.
Completely agree.
No thank you, no thank you. There's so many other people out there in the world who wish well. I will go work with them. I have no problem. It's if you have a good name out there, I really hope it is because you're good at what you do and because your heart is there. Not because your pocket is there.
Yeah.
And I understand you have to make a living out of it because I make a living out of it also myself. Yeah. I do that. I'm not going to deny. But at the same time, I have refused clients who I thought I was not the proper person for them. So that means I'm refusing your money also. I have no problem saying. I think I'm not the right person for you. I have the capacity of saying, after I do a little talk with you, I'm like, well, I may not be the right person for you. You may need somebody who has a different characteristics than what I have. It's not because I'm better or worse. No, it's just because
It's different.
my approach is a little different,
Yeah.
and I think that you will benefit a lot better from somebody else
Mhm.
that has these, these remarks that will really work for you
Mhm.
better. So it's really, that's why I say it's all in our intention.
Mhm.
I wish for you the best, so I know I'm not the best for you.
Mhm.
I know I shouldn't be the one.
And I think that's extremely respectable, honestly. I mean, I think not having any ego about you and not saying that, oh, I can do Reiki on, and anybody's going to benefit, because, I mean, people can come up with a million different reasons or excuses or whatnot, but if you, like you said, it has to come from your heart, and if you know in your heart, if that initial, and everybody knows it whether they admit it or not. I mean, there's that little, like that twinge, that feeling that you're like,
There's
okay,
that
I should or
feeling
shouldn't
thing,
do this. And if you're, again, it depends how open you are to be able to not only listen to it, but feel it, like really feel it, and then you have a choice to make. And I think that's very respectful. So.
Yeah, no, I mean, and the same thing goes for yoga teachers. Not every yoga teachers for everybody.
Exactly.
Like, I always say my students are very special because I'm very blunt when I talk,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm going to talk the same way in class.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to make you, I want you to think.
Mm-hmm.
I want you to reflect. I want you to go inside and question yourself. That's why I enjoy philosophy, because it makes me question myself. So if I got all these benefits, why wouldn't I share it with you?
Exactly.
So you have to be most probably open to hear that. And if you're not, well, maybe I'm not the right teacher for you.
Yeah. No,
And
that's great.
That's fine.
So we're coming up on our time. So
Wow.
I want to keep moving. I know, right? I want to keep moving. So we talked about yoga and how a lot of studies and science and things like that have been put into yoga, but now Reiki is actually being used in hospitals all over the world, and it's being used to really heal physical ailments, just to prove that. So a research study at Hartford Hospital in Hartford, Connecticut indicates that Reiki improved patients' sleep by 86%, reduced pain by 78%, reduced nausea by 80%, and reduced anxiety during pregnancy by 94%. So how can you, I mean, I understand that you haven't been in the hospital and actually doing it, but how do you view that as happening in the hospital setting?
I mean, now that they're even allowing it, yay! Because let's put it together, two medicines, the Eastern and the Western medicine. So through Reiki, what I can do going to a hospital is allowing the patient to find more peace, and as you find more peace in yourself, whatever medicine or whatever treatment they're giving you can do its job. Because now we are unblocking things. We are allowing things to flow. Because if you're in a hospital, because you are receiving treatment, so you are receiving some kind of medicine or some kind of something, right? So through Reiki, I can help you, absorb better, digest better, receive better, metabolize better, whatever it is that your body needs to do. And Reiki gives a lot of comfort. Because when the energy feels good, you feel comfortable. It gives you peace. So when we are in that state, anything else that goes around us, we digest better. So I am happy they're allowing to do that, because when I started, that was kind of a no-no. Yeah. So, but they're doing it, and I'm sure there's a whole protocol how to do it, and I think it's fantastic. Yeah,
I mean, and it's all over the world, which I thought was really, really cool and really, really interesting. So we talked about some of the experiences you've had. What would you say the best experience? Well, you gave us a really good example of you offering Reiki, and that was a really cool experience, I think, especially for that individual. But how about receiving Reiki?
To receive, I'm going to be picky there, which is true, because when I meet the person who's going to perform the session, there has to be some kind of energy that I will like. I have to like. If I feel that it's not smooth, let me put it that way, because for lack of words, I'm not going to go through the session. Yeah. I'm just not going to go through it. It's like when I go to a doctor, I have my Western doctor, and I love him very much. He's European. He's really funny, because, I mean, if I get hello out of him, it's a big thing. He's, oh my God, dry as a bone. But he listens to me. So there's an energy, even though he's like, but he will listen. So if I explain what's going on, there's an energy of him that is open to listen to the patient.
Yeah.
So I have no problem with him not talking or being dry or whatever, because I know he's paying attention to what I'm saying. So if I'm going to a Reiki session and not necessarily having to talk to the person, but you can feel the connection.
Yeah.
So if it feels smooth, great, I will do the session. I have beautiful, with some people, beautiful sessions. I have to trust, that's it. I do have to trust. It's not because I'm not open to it. By all means, I mean, it's like when massage, hey, I'll get undressed, I'm the first one to get a massage. But again, I need to feel that energy from the massage therapist.
Exactly.
It's going to be the proper one for me to feel.
Yeah.
Because she's going to be touching me from head to toe naked. I want it to feel good. I want the benefits out of it.
Yeah.
So it's the same thing with a Reiki session.
Absolutely. And like we were saying, we could probably talk about this for hours and hours, but we are up on our time. So I wanted to personally thank you very much for doing this. And I want to give you the opportunity again to say who you are, how people can reach out to you, anything in which you feel is important for them to know.
Just for people who know me, and for a lot of people ask me mine, because I had this question from last week. Tamaharini is my yoga name. It's not my legal name. And it means remover of the darkness. The name is given to you by your teacher according to your personality, your lifestyle, and how you conduct yourself, and how you went through your training and how your practice is. And I've always been told by so many people that if you ever want to hear the truth, you have to come talk to me. Because I'm not going to sugarcoat it for you. I don't know how to do it, I'm sorry. I'm not really good at that. But I'm really good at pointing things for you, because I want you to see the dark. I want you to understand where the bottom is, because we need to see the darkness and then move into the light. So when I was given that name, is with that thought process. You know, I will point out to you what needs to be fixed, and then I will try to help you move and fix it.
Absolutely, yeah.
So that was the reason behind that name.
Great.
And that's how you find me on Facebook as Teresita Tamaharini, and on Instagram I'm at Tere Lotus.
So Tere Lotus is at Terelotus.
Yes.
So Tere Lotus. Okay, so again, thank you all for watching. I really appreciate you coming here and spending time to take in some of this knowledge, and I welcome your comments and feedback and suggestions. If you have any suggestions or desires who you'd like to see on the show, please let me know. I'm happy to reach out to them. Check out all previous episodes on my YouTube channel, The Art of Mindful Medicine. You can check it out on my website as well, www.mindful.doctor. Again, we are on Instagram Live on Saturdays at 12. I'm Dr. Seth Gilson. And like always, I'm going to end with a quote. So this is from Eckhart Tolle, and I think it actually is perfect for what we were discussing. You are not in the universe. You are the universe, an intrinsic part of it. Ultimately, you are not a person, but a focal point where the universe is becoming conscious of itself. What an amazing miracle. So if anybody is interested in seeing that quote again, or you can replay it, but I mean, that is such a profound statement from him, and I really loved it, and it is perfectly in alignment with everything we discussed. So again, thank you all for coming and watching, and remember, stay awesome, stay mindful.
Have a wonderful weekend, everybody.
Yes.
Thank you. Namaste.
Have a great one. Namaste.